Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will be resetting and reorganizing my pantry for 2022. But first, we will repaint it. After removing all the food, I noticed that there were a lot of scratches on the walls and scratches on the shelves. So I think that it's time to repaint the walls and repaint the shelves with a fresh coat of white paint. I figured since I already had all the food out that this would be the perfect time to give it a fresh coat. It will make it feel fresh and new for 2022. I hope you'll join me as I repaint, reorganize, and reset my pantry. After all the holiday cooking and baking, it's time to get things back to normal. Hi, I'm Tanya. I've got my painting clothes on. I'm ready to get started. I've got my paint and I've got my paintbrush. I've got my white can of paint open and I'm ready to dip my brush into the paint. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's give this pantry a makeover. Let's start painting. I'm starting by painting the underside of the shelf. Then I'm going to paint the walls and then I'm going to paint the top of each shelf as I go. That's 1. 4 more to go. That's 2. That makes 3. Now 4 and 5. Now I'm going to remove these wire shelves off the door. Warning, as with any project, once you get started, you will find that more things need to be done. Once I finished painting the inside of the pantry, I noticed that the door frame needed to be painted as well as the door. Our home is 26 years old and we've lived in it for 14 years. I do believe that the paint on this door is original to the home because it has yellowed. I don't know if you can see the yellowing on camera the way I could in person, but once I painted the inside of the pantry and stood back and looked at the door frame in the drawer, it was very obvious that it needed to be repainted as well. The more I painted, the better the pantry looked. It looks so good now that it's done. The fresh coat of paint has done wonders for the inside of my pantry and door. I am so happy with how it turned out. There are no more scratches on the walls, on the shelves, and no more yellowing on the door. It looks so fresh and clean. It's amazing what a fresh coat of paint can do. Now that the paint's dry, I'm going to reinstall these wire racks back onto the door. Here's all the food that I took out of our pantry. Some of it is here on our buffet, and the rest of it is on our kitchen counter. As I pulled it out, I did throw away a couple of items that I knew that nobody was ever going to eat because they'd been sitting there way too long. Let's start organizing. I'm going to begin by placing this wire rack that I already own on the shelf, as well as this can organizer that I've had for several years. I'll add this other wire rack that I've had for several years as well. I'm adding these in to create different levels of heights in my pantry to store items. Lastly, I'm adding in this wire rack so I can create more shelf space. I consider my pantry to be on the small side, so I use what I can to create space. I did buy this new Pro Keepers baking storage set at Costco on sale in December, and I'm super excited to unbox it and use it in my pantry organization. Here we go. Let the unboxing begin. Now that I've unboxed everything and washed everything and dried it, I'm going to start putting all the items into all the baking storage set containers. I'm starting with the granulated sugar. I'm really liking how the box tells you exactly what goes in which container, and it has all the attachments to use for that particular item. I think it's pretty cool. Now I'm just pouring the leftover sugar from our previous sugar container into our new sugar container. Next, I'll be adding in our all-purpose flour into the flour container. I'm so happy to have a flour container to actually put our flour into, as opposed to just leaving it in its original packaging with an office supply clip to seal it up. Yep, that's right. I was using an office paper clip to seal up my flour. This is a step up and I'm excited about it. Now we're moving on to my brown sugar and powdered sugar, which I currently have stored in a Ziploc bag. I think it will be nice to have them stored in their own containers, not only to keep them fresher for longer, but also because they look aesthetically pleasing when they're sitting on the shelf and they will stack up nicer, as opposed to being in a Ziploc bag. Now I'm going to place the powdered sugar into the powdered sugar container, which actually came with a little sifting spoon so you can sprinkle your powdered sugar on top of items. Now I'm going to be pouring my coffee into the coffee container. I'm actually excited about this one because I think it's going to help keep my coffee fresher for longer. But not only that, the weight of the coffee in this can, when I would keep it in my pantry and slide it in and out every day, was scratching my shelf. Now that I'm transferring it from the can to the container, I'm hoping not to have that problem anymore. I'm going to start organizing in our breakfast food items on this top shelf. I'm doing that for a couple of reasons. The main reason is to kind of keep like with like, but also because this is the only shelf where I can fit our cereal boxes. So it just makes sense to put everything on that particular shelf. Next, I'm organizing in the different types of rice that we use for cooking. Now I'm adding in our fresh potatoes and our fresh garlic. Now I'm going to organize our tea on the shelf to keep like items with like items. Once I started organizing, I realized that I had placed this wire rack on the wrong shelf, so I'm just moving it down a level so that I can put our paper plates on it. I'm using this wooden crate to store our chips and to help keep them contained. Next, I'm using this wire basket to store our bread, and I'll place it next to the chips because it makes most sense to keep the chips and bread together for the days that we make sandwiches. Now I'm just organizing in all of our canned goods and canned good like items. Now I'm creating my coffee corner in my pantry where I place my coffee, vanilla, honey, and sugar. Next, I'm creating my cooking oil corner where I place our olive oil, canola oil, and Pam spray. Next, I'm using this wooden crate that holds our salad topper items. Now I'm using this smaller wooden crate that holds our mac and cheese, hash browns, and sauces and gravies. Now I'm organizing in some of our special sauces and oils that we use for certain cooking. Next, I'm adding in a couple of different salts that we use for cooking, as well as some spices. Once I started organizing, I realized I needed to move the tea box down a level in order to keep all the spices together on those same two shelves. You'll notice as I'm organizing that I keep moving spices around from one shelf to another. And the reason I'm doing that is that I am trying to keep like with like, and I'm also trying to keep the lids that are black together, the lids that are red together, just to make it look more visually appealing and less cluttered. I'm organizing the spices at eye level so that when we open the pantry, it's easier for us to read the spice labels. I'm adding the baking soda, baking powder, and cornstarch to the bottom shelf because we don't use those items that often. Next, I'm just adjusting some of the items on the shelves so I can find new homes for the new canisters. Now I'm just finding homes for the miscellaneous items that are left over. This is my pasta bag, and after racking my brain, I finally figured out that I could put all of it in this shoebox. Next, I organized the kids' snacks into these Dollar Tree bins that I already had, and so now they can see them much better when they open the pantry. As you can see, my pantry keeps getting more filled in, but I still have miscellaneous things on my counter that I'm just going through and trying to figure out where to put these items because they do need to go back in the pantry, but I've got to find homes for them. So you'll keep seeing me reshuffle and reshuffle again, trying to find spots for all these miscellaneous leftover items that we need. And it's okay to do that, to just keep reshuffling things and moving things around. There's no one way to organize your space or your kitchen or your pantry. You have to do what works for you. And sometimes it just takes time to play with things and move things around till you find that right spot, that right home for the item. I'm done. An added bonus, I even organized my spice rack. The pantry reveal. It looks and feels so much better now that it's organized. Everything has a home and it's in its place. We can see what we have and we know what we have. And when everything is in its place, it makes cooking so much easier and enjoyable. I hope this video encourages you and motivates you to reset your pantry in 2022. Thanks for watching. Please share this video with a friend. Click like and subscribe. Bye.